All right, welcome back. So today's show, I want to talk about the top 3 tools that I've used and continue to use for growth, not only with real estate investing, with self-storage, but also with personal development. And before we get into it, again, want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank everybody for the feedback that I'm getting, which is absolutely awesome. The idea behind me doing this show is really just to give back. Things that I've learned, things that I'm learning, things that I have gone through and going through. I enjoy sharing those, and also other guests as well. We learn so much from each other, and that's a perfect segue for my very first, the first tool. And this is no particular order, but the first tool that I use and have used for growth is networking. Pretty simple, right? Learning from others. And there's a lot of ways to do that. I do believe being in person and connecting and having good relationships, I believe that's probably the strongest way. Because there's so much you can learn in person compared to a Zoom call or something like that. But networking, right? Relationship capital. And obviously you've got to meet these people somewhere. So where do you meet these people? I've met them in masterminds, and that's been storage masterminds. That's been personal development masterminds. That's been high-level real estate investing masterminds. I've been to quite a few, and have definitely met a wide array of people. And I don't want to say I've picked and chose, but have kind of gravitated to certain people, and those people I've definitely stayed in contact with. And my circle is relatively small, and I like to keep it small. But yeah, I've met all sorts of people, whether it's in self-storage, multifamily, hard money, wholesaling, senior living, you name it. I've got a pretty good friend in pretty much any asset class, and can learn something from anybody in different asset classes. So that's pretty cool. Also, I've gone to one-off events, seminars. Those are, from what I've seen, there's a couple different kinds. There's some that are, I guess, more. You're going to learn tools, right? You're going to learn tools of the trade, whatever you're going for. So if it is a self-storage seminar, hopefully you learn self-storage stuff, the nuts and bolts. And then I've also been to other ones where it's more kind of rah-rah, kind of pump you up kind of thing. Both are great. It's, where are you at in your season of life? What do you need? Where I'm at, and most circumstances now, my seminars have changed from more nuts and bolts to now more, I don't want to say motivation, but kind of just being around that energy, right? In fact, one event I went to in Phoenix a couple months ago, Tommy Mello, garage door guy, his energy was unreal. I don't know that I got a ton from him as far as nuts and bolts. With him speaking in the room, and it was a smaller room, it was about 50 people. But just his energy, his drive, it's just that kind of motivated me. And I still feel that today, and it's been a couple months ago. So those are the kind of things that I'm looking for when doing that. And then, once you've gone to those, now you're, those type of events, masterminds, seminars, whatever, now you've kind of got your current circle, right? And we've kind of, myself and Ian Horowitz have kind of made it more of a, official kind of to keep a circle intact, and have done our own mastermind, and that's been pretty cool. That way, we're almost forcing ourselves and everybody else in the group to stay in touch more, and motivate each other more, keep each other accountable, and that's been pretty cool. So first tool is networking, relationship capital. Pretty self-explanatory for the most part, but yeah, probably the most important. I think a lot of people overlook this, and myself being more of an introvert, I definitely pushed back on this for a while. My first mastermind was in 2020. So what's that? 5-6 years after I started getting into real estate investing, which is insane. And I tell buddies today that are trying to break into real estate investing or buy a business or whatever. I tell them today that they need to get around other people that are doing it. You can only go so far by yourself, in your own echo chamber, and not having those people around you. So, and I've talked about this quite a bit on the show, but yeah, definitely get around people, create those relationships, and you bounce ideas off each other. It's pretty cool. And you keep each other motivated. Number two is, probably a change of how this looks, especially in my world. It's social media. So I would say even maybe a year ago, maybe definitely 5 years ago, I saw Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, I saw those outlets as more entertainment. And now I see them as tools for my business and personal development. So the people that I'm following are not, Mr. Beast. I don't really know what Mr. Beast does, but I know he's the most watched YouTube person. To me, that's probably entertainment from what I know about him. I'm not watching that stuff. I'm not watching, America's Funniest Home Videos on that stuff. I will dabble with, some comedy here and there. But really what I'm looking for is, guys like Dan Martell, Ed Milet, Robert Kiyosaki, guys that are providing value, Tony Robbins, guys that are providing value in their Instagram, Facebook, YouTube content. And obviously all of those platforms have different ways that you can consume that stuff, right? Twitter's more written. I've gotten off Twitter, but Twitter's obviously written. Instagram's, you're going to have shorter reels. So it's going to be a quicker video, probably 10 to 30 seconds for the most part. And you're going to get one or two tidbits out of that. And then obviously YouTube is more, it can be a combination of all those, but it can also be longer form where you've got hour-long videos. In fact, I'm watching in the middle of one right now with, what's his name? Dean Graziosi and Dan Martell. So I'm learning from those. I'm treating those outlets, those social media outlets, as education, where I think majority of people, especially in the past, but I still think majority of people are treating it as kind of a dopamine hit, and they're just endless scrolling, right? For myself, I'm doing that, but I'm also making sure that I'm getting value out of it for myself, for my business. And yeah, it's been really good, especially that change of, it's not just entertainment. It's probably 90% personal and business development. So don't be afraid to get on there if you're not on those socials. Just be, responsible with it, and follow the people that you want to follow and learn from, that will provide value in your life, positive value, because obviously you can go the other way. The third thing, and I am going to have a bonus, but the third thing is podcasts and books. Pretty simple, right? Obviously you can learn a ton with books, you can learn a ton with podcasts. I think podcasts for myself are probably, I probably get more out of those than books. Just because I kind of feel like I'm, when I go for walks, I put headphones in and I'm listening to podcasts. And it's almost like that person or the people on the podcast are with you, and obviously talking to you guys right now on one. So it's pretty cool to have those experts kind of in my ear as I'm walking or driving or whatever. And that's podcasts have definitely been, and started with Bigger Pockets and some other real estate investor podcasts, but that's been a huge education tool for myself, especially when it comes to real estate investing in general, but other professional development as well. Podcasts have been absolutely awesome, and books too, obviously. I unfortunately read about 3 or 4 books at a time, and don't gain a ton of traction. I'll read a few pages a day. So podcasts definitely go further for me, and same with YouTube videos. So that's top 3 for me. Networking, get around people. 2, social media. I don't think it's talked enough about how powerful social media is when it comes to education, learning, and obviously, again, follow the right people. And then podcasts and books, which are self-explanatory. And then my bonus is just go out and try it. So many people are afraid to take risks, and it's not even a risk, right? Like most of these things that that we're talking about on this show and have talked about, whether it's, buying a business, building a business, buying real estate, ground up development, which we haven't talked about, but there's risks in that. But to me, and again, we all have different paths, but for me, for myself, on the path that I'm on, where I've gotten to me, working for someone else is riskier than me doing it on my own. And I've probably had that mentality for a while, probably majority of my life, but it took a little while to get there to realize, okay, you know what? I would rather be, in control of my own path, my own destiny, than someone else. And obviously there's definitely, we need employees out there. And I've talked about this before. We need employees for sure. And I have some great ones on my team. I also do my best in trying to do better with empowering those people, because I don't want to lose those people. And two, I know what it's like to be, I guess, under the guidance or leadership of someone else, and it's not my company. So I want to make sure that they're feeling like they are definitely not just along for the ride, but also steering the ship. But with all that to say, go out and try it, right? No matter what it is, you want to buy a business, you want to buy real estate, quit talking about it, quit thinking about it, do it. And you got to start with today, right? Whatever it is, start with today. What's one thing you can do to get that ball rolling? Because that's all it is. It's just momentum. So get that ball rolling. Do one thing today. And then guess what? Tomorrow you got to do something else. And then the day after you got to do something else. And you can't stop. Every day you've got to do something. And each day you're probably picking up steam and doing more and more and more. And that ball is just going to turn to a snowball, and momentum down that the mountain turn into the avalanche. So yeah, bonus, go out and try it. That's my top 3 tools that I use personally for growth, and that's not just professional, but also personal as well. And again, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for following, subscribing, and listening to this episode of the Do More podcast hosted by John Farling. To learn more or ask questions, go to l4investing.com.